logged on to
What's
MGTOW.
going on, you disgusting Cleveland steamers? Welcome to Grunt Speak Live, episode 148. I'm Toxic Male, and this gentleman over here, not quite Waldo, unless you're talking about monochromatic. He's Terrence Pop.
Yeah, what's up, you bastards? Today's show is a good one.
We got a full boat tonight.
This is how we're going to cover this.
Ooh.
We're going to be on YouTube for 15 to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about some innocuous things.
Well, not totally innocuous.
Well, this is conspiracy night.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some old stuff that we probably will get away with.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go into the poke and smoke, the ice cream social, some other interesting things.
Alphabet agency grooming, if you know what I mean.
MK Ultra kind of shit.
Discord discussions that may or may not have happened in Buffalo and Uvalde.
Yes. Absolutely correct.
From retired people, so you can't FOIA request their information, things like that.
Yeah.
But, two buts.
That's a good one.
Without any further ado, I'm going to turn you over to the two gentlemen, one of whom you already know, and one whom you are going to learn to love. Well, maybe or maybe not. We got here with us tonight Dick Fitzwell and Major Disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, he was an actual major in the United States Army, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
You know you're fucked when there's an officer involved.
Yeah.
One of the good guys, because I started out enlisted and then maverick my way up.
Yeah, he went to the dark side.
Yeah, I understand. They offered me that same thing when I finished my 4-year degree, and I told them to pound some fucking sand. I want nothing to do with that dick sucking, butt fucking, asshole licking fucking thing officers do.
You know what? You would have gone warrant officer. I bet if you had the chance, if Group was still there in Selfridge.
Yes, I would have, in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Chief is a warrant officer is a great program.
Yeah, and I have a couple of buddies of mine who retired from the Green Beanies as CW 4s and 5s.
Yep.
All
you
right,
never see it.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. All right. So the first thing we're gonna talk about here that I think we should be safe on YouTube, allegedly, is the events of 9/11.
Oh.
Now, every time I talk about this, I know I'm gonna get probably anywhere from 6 to 18 negative emails about how I shouldn't talk about this. We already know what happened. And I'm going to say, no, we don't.
No.
And the big thing that throws this whole narrative that we've been sold for the past 20 plus years, okay, is that, a couple guys, was it 6, 8 people took over some aircraft and flew them into each of the World Trade Center buildings. All right, now if that was just the case and only those 2 buildings fell, okay.
You might have a point.
Okay.
But
and this is a big but right here. Tower 7 had fire on what, 2 or 3 floors?
Something like that.
And then all of a sudden, it fell at free fall speed.
The hell was that?
What was that? It fell at free fall speed.
Somebody over there trying to look at porn while they're over here. Just saying, you can't keep a porn tab open while you're trying.
Yeah, don't do that.
Trying to talk to the crazy drunk uncles.
All right, but the big thing here is this: Tower 7 was
Shut it down, Marty.
Yeah. Tower 7 was a hardened building.
Yeah.
And
they were all hardened.
Well, no. We're not talking about hardened with Viagra. We're saying that Tower 7 was supposedly a building that it was basically the headquarters of disaster response. And it fell down basically on its own. Now, historically speaking, up until that point, I don't believe there has been any high-rise towers that collapsed via fire. I could be wrong.
Well, considering how those were built, I want to say a lot of independent experts were brought in on it, and they said that the structuralization of the buildings was closer to like a screen door than it was to a Jenga tower.
Yeah.
Whereas if a Jenga tower, you can punch it hard enough in the middle, the whole freaking thing will fall down, or at least the top half will come down.
Yep.
A screen door, you can poke a hole in it, and it's still a screen door, except for that hole.
Correct. And they actually supposedly built it to handle the strike of an aircraft. Now, what I have here, and we're going to show this on the screen. I have a PDF copy of this. This is an actual independent report that is backed up. So, I think, was it somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 architects and structural engineers.
Yeah, and this took looks like 18 years.
It took a while to get done.
Out. So yeah, September 2019 is when this was released.
And this will be on the website, redonkulas.com. We're going to put it up there at the end of the show. Yep. And anyone can download this and read it for yourselves. Blake, read us a couple snippets.
Okay. Now, I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit. This report presents the findings and conclusions of a 4-year study, okay, so it didn't take all 18 years, of the collapse of World Trade Center Building 7, a 47-story building that suffered a total collapse 5:20 p.m., September 11th, 2001, following the horrible events of that morning. Now, the objective was threefold. Examine the structural response of Tower 7 to fire loads that may have occurred, rule out scenarios that could not have caused it, and identify the types of failure and their locations that may have caused the total collapse. Principal conclusion. Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, this is going to blow your mind.
Fire did not cause the collapse of Tower 7 on 9/11. Contrary to the conclusions of NIST and private engineering firms that had studied the collapse, the secondary conclusion of our study is that the collapse of World Trade Center 7 was a global failure involving the near simultaneous failure of every column in the building. Demolition! I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Explosives tend to have that effect on steel.
A, B, C for demolition.
You know who would be a good reference on this to talk to, Pop, would be Goat Belly.
Yeah. Goat Belly.
He was engineer in SF, or he didn't finish, but he still had all his demo cards and his cheat sheets, and he could tell you.
Yeah. And he has 160 IQ.
Yeah.
All right, but my thing is this. All right, now somebody tried to destroy one of the world towers like 7 or 8 years prior to this. Okay, and they basically put a huge truck bomb at the base of the building and detonated, and the building didn't fall. But what it did do was scare the absolute bejesus out of pretty much everyone in New York, to include the New York City government. Because if that building lost structural integrity and just collapsed like a tree, it would have killed 50, 60,000 people and destroyed 8 to 10 buildings. All right. So, if they had the building pre-rigged just in case that was ever to happen again, and they rigged the buildings to fall into their own footprint, I could fucking accept that. Because guess what? That is a reasonable response. But don't lie about it, for God's sake. Don't cover it up.
So we're going to blame 9/11 on riggers?
Yeah, the riggers.
Oh.
Those bastards.
Riggers.
All right. And another thing about that whole situation was how it was a huge crime scene that somehow they allowed third-party companies to come in and haul off all of the wreckage and steel to be processed in another fucking country. All right? That shit probably was covered with C4 or P10 residue from the explosions.
Syntax residue, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, and then we had, the micro phosphorus?
The isotope.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the
and that was found all over the country. I mean, all over New York City. I mean, what the fuck is that shit about?
Well, caveat, the Pentagon.
Yeah.
They said a plane hit the Pentagon. How come we didn't see any wreckage of the plane?
Because there was no plane.
There was no plane.
Hush! You guys are being crazy conspiracy theorists.
I know.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about
I'm
it.
just saying. I know how big a 737 is, and the hole that it left was, not that big. Not to mention those huge fucking jet engines would make similar damage next to the main hole.
Well,
No
when was the
damage.
Pentagon built? Let's look at the year the Pentagon was built, Blake. Can you pull that up?
The year the Pentagon was built.
Yep.
Stand by.
Let's not neglect the fact that when an aircraft is full and just taking off, those wings are fuel tanks.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's nothing but fuel inside those wings, and where's the fire?
Yeah.
And now all the high pressure vapor that's in the tanks,
Well,
there's just add more kinetic energy.
yeah, well, not to mention that
impact.
it had to come in at like lower than nap of the earth to hit that building. It didn't. I don't believe any of the street signs or pylons or telephone poles were hit, and it would have ripped off the fucking wings, and you would have had it hit the ground, and then maybe skid however long into the Pentagon. But there would have been a huge amount of fire. There's nothing.
Yeah, well, and I'm a pilot too. And,
Yeah.
Besides being, I'm a private pilot, and like if you're gonna land, if you're taking a hit like that, your wings are coming off.
Yeah,
and it's gonna spread avgas everywhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, an airplane flying bomb, and I don't care what you're flying with, whether it's a puddle jumper or if it's a U.S. Air. It's a flying bomb.
Yeah.
The Pentagon's construction started in 1941, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 60 years to the day. No,
60 years to the day it
11th.
was hit.
Yep,
Now,
September
you gotta
11th,
understand, when was the
1941.
construction finished?
Yep. Let me see here. Take shape.
Probably within
blah, blah.
5 years.
Pentagon construction begins. Pentagon after the war.
47.
47.
All right, that's I saw the date. Okay, so 47. At the beginning of the Cold War, shortly after we dropped the fucking sun on Hiroshima. Don't you think they would have built that building to sustain at least a 2 to 3 megaton blast?
I know that there were upgrades to the Pentagon in several waves after the end of World War II.
Structurally. So, and then whatever hit the Pentagon took just a bit of a bite out of it, not that big of a chunk. Secondary, we didn't see anything of a fuel spread or a burn pattern, John?
Nope.
No burn pattern.
Exactly.
Anything significant, no wings, no empennage, because I've told you before, Pop, if you're going to be in a plane crash, run to the tail end of the aircraft. That's where the black boxes are at.
Yeah.
Most out, it's going to freaking most often, the tail of the aircraft's going to survive a crash. Okay? Nose first. Gravity works every time.
Yes.
So anyways, looking at that, and then any of the surrounding security film footage from, let's say, arbitrary gas stations and various other businesses, that was all seized. Wasn't that all seized by the FBI? Didn't they take all of that?
The FBI went and took all the security camera footage from virtually every store that was pointing towards the Pentagon.
Because that's not suspicious.
Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Okay,
not
now
at all.
Hang on.
No.
Mr. R, Major Disaster, you're a pilot, correct?
Yes, sir, I
All right.
am.
What are the odds that 2 aircraft are going to hit 2 different food processing plants?
About the same odds as 2 aircraft are going to hit 2 towering skyscrapers in New York. It's planned. The only way that shit is going to happen is somebody plans it.
Correct.
Yep.
All right. Now, the reason I'm starting off this entire show with 9/11 is this. They pulled a Houdini on the entire world, including America, at 9/11. Now, if you know what a Houdini is, It's basically a sexual intercourse encounter where you do a handoff to your buddy and she doesn't know it. It's illegal. It's a rapé, and you're going to prison.
A little bit.
All right. So let me get this straight. All right.
I'm trying to avoid prison.
Yes. You have the military-industrial complex, and they get a huge amount of money from the government, taxpayer money. The Cold War had ended a decade before that, in 89, 91.
Yeah, 89.
They needed to ramp it up. Hypothetically, what's the best way to do that?
Terrorist attack.
You do something that is so egregious, everyone sees it, and you have to get an immediate response for.
Yep.
Because after that happened,
you have to start a war. That's how they make their money.
Right after that happened, we kicked off into Afghanistan, and then after that, we had some falsified justification to go into Iraq, which, in my opinion, was nothing but a huge monumental mistake.
I was there.
That was Desert Storm episode 2.
Yeah.
In Iraq.
The Phantom Man-ass.
Yeah. What were you saying there, Major Disaster?
I said I was there, and it was a goddamn mistake.
Yeah, I almost got zeroed out in Iraq over that shit. I lost my family, all my money, was made homeless, lost my health. I'm probably going to die young because of that. So, yeah, the whole thing just fucking sucks. And my main point is this. That was basically the front porch for the House of Conspiracies and unseen hand actions that have taken place since then.
All right, let's think about this tactically.
Yep.
We're in Afghanistan. We occupied Uzbekistan or Kyrgyzstan. We had a base in Uzbekistan.
We had some people in some of the other stands, and a lot of my friends who had basically retired or got out of the service.
And then we had Iraq.
We're making a lot of money hunting individuals on the borders with those countries to Pakistan.
What country's in the middle in between Iraq and the 7 Stan countries?
Fuck, I don't. It's
Iran.
Iran? Okay. I mean,
Yes.
the whole area is fucked up, and it's going to take.
Well, we know it's fucked up beyond belief. Don't. Nobody has to really, say otherwise. We know
that.
What's that?
I said I don't see any cure for that.
No.
Because in order for the place to become something that we would consider reasonable,
but
you have to change the entire culture.
Wipe them out.
The reason why I guess, now this is me speaking, I could be wrong.
The
reason why they're keeping the Middle East so fractionalized is because the Ottoman Empire was divided in what year?
That was after World War I.
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine if you had a unified caliphate under one banner of Islam that has all this fanaticism behind it, because Islam is the one doctrine, or the Quran is the one doctrine that has not changed in 1500 years. Our Bible has changed.
Now, hang on. All right.
It's less than that, Marty. It's
Listen,
more like 100
I
years.
understand what you're saying, but we're getting sidetracked, and we're hurting for time.
All
right. So the next one I want to talk about, and Marty, Dick Fitzwell, his name's Marty. He was literally in the control room that managed all of the air traffic across the Mediterranean when Benghazi was going down. He was fucking in the room.
Yeah, I worked the C-130 side. I was doing
Fill us in on what you did.
Airlift portion. Next to me was VIP DV, which is they got to fly the Lears in for various distinguished visits or very important persons. Section over was refuelers, and those guys, that was so obvious that, we got 2 tankers in position over the Met, which Avian. So in response, was to launch, refuel, put sharp pointy objects on target, and then refuel back over the med, and go back to Aviano. Okay.
But like you literally were there when it kicked off.
Yep.
They had you actually, if I recall, because you speak grunt. Basically look at the footage and brief the higher ups of what you were seeing because they didn't know. Is that correct?
I gave them a very practical grunt's perspective of what was happening on the ground.
Okay.
And so I had the attention of my boss, Colonel Holbert Colonel, great guy, and a few other people. We had civilians in there as well too, working weather, flight planning, or air routes. Part of my job was also diplomatic clearances, which in this scenario, you take that whole diplomatic clearance guide that's about that thick and you just throw it out the window.
Absolutely correct.
So I was told to cancel every single C-1 airlift line, no matter where they were, pertaining to the squadron that was in Germany at the time.
Correct.
These were K models, so they were the shiny new penny of the Air Force. Okay. So some air crews were calling, griefing me, saying, "Hey, what the fuck's going on there?" And I'm like, "Hey, look, this is the deal. This is what's going on. You are now there's Alpha Alert and there's Bravo Alert."
Yeah.
As far as for air crews, it's been a while. So if any of your fans want to check me on it, by all means, I won't take offense to it. Alpha Alert is a 12-hour recall. Bravo Alert is 24-hour recall for air crews. I was given the order to put 2 crews to 1 bird. So that means every available pilot, co-pilot, and loadmaster, there were 2 crews for doing 12-hour flights.
All right, so basically what you're saying is you got the order to make sure everyone was fucking on deck to respond.
Yes.
And okay, I got it. And then you had people that would be available 24/7. You'd have one crew there for 12 hours, and then the other one would come in.
2 crews. One crew would be flying, one crew would be sitting in the back chilling out.
Yes.
So, anyways.
Okay.
I had crews positioned in Spain, which they loved. I had crews in Djibouti, Africa, which they hated. And the vast majority, I had SF in the Balkans, and those guys were itching to go in. Gosh darn, because they have each SF team has their own MC-130. So you know about that.
Yeah.
I'm just in my head. I'm hearing they're itching to go into Djibouti. I'm gonna go lay down.
All right, hang on. All right, so this is what we got going on here. So you got the order to make sure everyone was on station to handle what was going on.
Yeah.
All right. You had the attack taking place.
Yep.
Was there or was there not an actual paratrooper unit that was in Italy that was basically on aircraft, ready to go, and the colonel or whoever was in charge was relieved for cause on the spot? Did that or did that not happen?
General Ham was relieved of duty because he put the sugar ferries into Benghazi. He was the one that authorized to put boots on the ground.
Correct.
The State Department, via Barry Satoro's word, don't put any boots on the ground. General Ham went, okay, this is messed up. He put SF in. He put its 10th group out of Bad Tolls or 12th group. I forgot.
I think it's 10th.
Stuttgart or Bad Tolls, one of the two places. And he put boots on the ground, and immediately once word got back to the Puzzle Palace in D.C., he was relieved on the spot via phone.
Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. If I was in a position of authority in that region, I would have basically put a company or 2 of paratroopers literally over that building, and they could fuck off.
Well,
the attack on our embassy is technically broad strokes
I got you.
War,
right,
because they are attacking us as a sovereign nation, our territory. The embassy is an extension of pretty much of U.S. sovereignty.
All right, hang on. Major Disaster, what were we going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that there's a battalion of the 325 Parachute Infantry Regiment stationed in Vincenza, Italy.
I know.
173rd now.
Is it the one?
It is, okay.
It's the 173rd,
it's been a while. And they're supported by a battery of the 134th Field Artillery.
Okay.
We had the firepower.
Yes.
Besides FF and all you special snoop and poop kind of guys, we had real, there's real capabilities of launching from Italy to Libya and getting there in a matter of hours.
Okay. So we have a general getting relieved because he wants to do the right thing. We have an administration who said, fuck it, let him die. Now, I have read some of the newspapers that were printed within a day or 2 days after this whole incident took place. We're talking about newspapers that were printed in Turkey, Iran, Syria, some of the other Muslim nations around that area. And listen, this is terrible here. The ambassador he did not die from smoke inhalation. He was alive when they took him out of there. Then he was raped and then executed. They dragged his body around. Now, none of that was ever told to the American public, but that's what fucking happened to our ambassador. Am I right or wrong?
You are right. And although it did not hit mainstream media, I heard that like a half a day after the incident.
All right. This is now going on the deep end, on the dark side.
Okay.
The reason Benghazi was allowed to happen, 2012, Barry Soetoro's up for re-election, so the media's beloved meat puppet, is once again on the ballot.
The teleprompter in chief.
You mean the Barry lover?
Yeah. So
Big Mike.
Now there's a man who was itching to get into Djibouti.
Yeah, that's it right there. Big Mike.
Allegedly, Ambassador Stevens was going to go Boy Scout and report that there was a pipeline of money and weapons being funded through Libya up towards Iran, hence ISIS.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So it was a big push, in my opinion, to reestablish a caliphate, because ISIS got a lot of traction in the beginning, and everyone was scared of ISIS because largely they were beginning to learn to manipulate the media for the use of propaganda. We all know that.
Yeah.
And just how well funded they were in the beginning. All right.
Now hang on here. Now, Major Disaster. You were still on active duty when this went down, right?
Actually, I think by then I had transitioned to the Ohio Guard.
Okay.
But I never lost the active duty mentality.
What I'm saying is this: is what were you hearing from your side on the officer end? Did you catch any of this?
Most of what I caught was actually from the news, but I don't subscribe to, shall we say, traditional media.
Neither do I.
Because they lie.
Yeah, if I need to know something, I get on the Green Beret Express.
But, the other thing, and I think about this from not only a tactical but also a strategic standpoint. It was like, okay, since when do you bring crew-served weapons to a peaceful protest? These fuckers are firing mortars.
Yeah, I know.
It takes training. It takes training. It takes coordination, and
it takes money.
Show up to your you don't show up to a protest with a mortar.
No. Yeah, I know. and remember
random guy with a mortar head.
Now, remember that one guy they blamed the whole thing on because he made a video?
Oh, what a goddamn!
Oh yeah.
Whatever happened to that guy? Is he still in prison?
No.
Probably got suicided.
No, they let him out after about 6 months.
He's ghosted, but we did watch the video for intel purposes. Nothing in that video could be in any way attributed to the kickoff on Benghazi. It was such a weak excuse, but the American sheeple fucking bought it because, well, Barry Soetoro was in office.
Yeah.
And they needed to placate the Americans, need to know, okay, here's your fucking American double Whopper with cheese media fucking order. Take it. Be happy. Next customer. Move along. Nothing to see here.
All right. So, and
But
then
guys like us tend to look behind the veil and say, wait, the numbers aren't adding up. So once again, too many coincidences for this to be mathematically impossible.
hang on. All right, Blake,
Yes,
I want
sir.
you to put up that one news article where Hillary was exonerated.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we just
What was that?
we just talked about, and we about Benghazi, and I had an individual in a goddamn control room while this whole thing was going on. A general was relieved for trying to put together a mission to put boots on the ground.
No, he did put boots on the ground. That's what he got relieved from duty.
Okay, well, I know, but the rumor is that I got was there was a whole a company or two companies of paratroopers that literally were stood down, and a couple guys got relieved over it.
And we had Marine fast teams on station
Yes.
as well to go in, and they were on a quicker response tempo than the actual 173rd, because the fast teams, their sole purpose in life is to secure embassies and kill everybody around it.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, what I'm trying to get at here is we're going to read the next headline,
All right.
and it basically states that the military's at fault for not responding, even though we know this, an order from the 30-pound brain motherfuckers running the show who have dicks in their mouths gave the order to basically stop everything and allow this sitting ambassador to be killed, raped, and tortured.
Yep.
All right, so look at this. This is such a fucking whitewash, and this is absolutely horrific. And I just don't have
one
words.
thing too while I was going through this here.
Yeah.
That Clinton endured 11 hours of questioning and was roundly commended for her performance. Isn't this the round of questioning where she said,
Performance.
yeah. It's a performance, all right. It was more like performance art.
Jenna
Do you see what I'm doing here, Blake? You see what I'm doing? You're making me fucking drink.
Hey, this was your idea.
I know. It had to happen.
But wasn't this the same round of questioning that produced the response when she was asked about
What
the men who
difference
died? What difference does it make? Okay, coming from somebody who pushes the 1619 Project bullshit, that's fucking rich.
I know.
Okay, if 4 dudes dying 6 months ago doesn't make a difference now to talk about it and try to figure out who's responsible, but you're going to try to hold all white people responsible for slavery from 200 years ago, fuck you with a double scoop of piss off.
Absolutely correct.
I watched the entire Hillary deposition, and it was weak.
It was.
Because I was upset over the fact that the material that I freely gave them, the commission, to say, no, this didn't happen. No, this didn't happen. Nope, this didn't happen. And that certainly is a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
So
Back then, the memory of the incident was still very fresh, and I was still very pissed off about it. It was one of the bigger reasons why I just gave the Air Force the big middle finger and said, I'm done with you fuckers.
I got you.
All right.
All right, before we go on, can we get a roll call of who we have watching?
Absolutely, because I have a feeling we're going to have to go to New Tech pretty soon before Susie gets too pissed.
I got you.
Just saying. All
I'm
right.
sure you've got every YouTube moderator looking at us right now.
We got 76 watching on Twitch, 74 on D Live, 664 on Rumble, 94 on Odyssey, 17 on MGTOW.tv. It's kind of a weak performance over there. And 782 on YouTube.
All right.
We're going to get banned, and we're still 400 likes short. Dudes, smash it.
Yeah, okay.
Smash
That's cool.
it like it owes you money.
Just trying to keep track of the numbers. We're there. We're right on the.
We do have some chats here. One of them I'm just going to get into right now because it's nice and safe, and it's a good way to put the button on this before we jump over to new tech. So to the veterans in the room here, hey Pop from Dung is Fun. Eating those MREs. Have you ever had the turd of 1,000 wipes? Educational purposes only, of course.
Yes, I have.
That's why they put toilet paper into the MREs.
But it was never enough. You had to bring your own roll.
I always I always saved up the little toilet papers because you never know. But I had a really bad incident where I was passing stools as round as this, and my butthole would bleed. It was terrible.
So that's why the Pringles can make sense, because it was a perfect fit.
It was terrible. And after that happened, I literally would I'm not eating all that MRE shit. Because pain is the ultimate teacher.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's good times.
Yeah, wait, before we go to new tech, I would like to just make an honorable mention to Sun Tzu, 500 BC.
Yes.
Where war is the ultimate extension of politics.
It absolutely is.
As we consider things like Benghazi, if they're going to deploy troops or not deploy troops, it is not the commander in the field. It is the emperor in his palace.
Correct.
Winning.
All right, so we're going to be going over to new tech.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about the poke and smoke. We're going to talk about the ice cream social. And there's a couple other subjects that I know would get us in severe trouble with the people on basically the lame. Well, is it the big tech that's in power right now? They don't like what we're doing.
Establishment.
All right, so we're going to take 5 minutes. We're going to move over to alt tech, give you enough time for all of our viewers to move over.
Yep.
And we're going to continue this. Restock your menageries, because I have a feeling by the time we walk away from this 10 o'clock, 10:30, you're going to need to be cocked.
That's correct.
Because this is insane.
That or anger management there.
And I think before we jump into the next subjects over on New Tech, we can probably get through the YouTube chats. There wasn't a whole lot of them, and they're all directly applying to the 9/11 scenario. So before we jump into new subjects, I think it's a good idea to take care of the old ones.
All right, let's get that.
All right, but you people over on YouTube, keep an eye in the chat box. I will send you direct links where you can follow us after we jump over. So go drain your main vein, refill your booze. We'll be back in a bit.